Hello. So today I'm going to be interviewing my GJ. She's going to be telling us about her past, about phones, and what she thinks about the new technology. Okay, first question. GJ, what type of phones did you guys have back then when you were growing up?
Rotophones.
So what did
Rotary
you...
phones, where you have to dial one number and it goes and it goes back, and then you dial another number. You dial another.
Okay.
That's the rotophone.
So you were telling me about the push button phones, and I knew that the push buttons, when I did my research, the push button phones were just called push button phones.
Yeah, but they had the princess. That was the glamorous type, when you got the colors.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, and you got the colored phones.
So the push button phones, earlier you were telling me about, you didn't use area codes. And
no, area codes wasn't used, and we used letters like GR, SH, and then GR2, and the rest of the numbers, and SH, 80613, stuff like that.
Okay, so you told me I have found the phone, and you told me that you had something
similar.
Yeah, something similar. So when you had that phone, do you think it was easier than using a maybe like a portable phone, like what we call now a house phone? Or do you think the house phone
was we always had house phones, but we didn't have cell phones. There was no such thing as a cell phone. Cell phones they've been out for a while, but we didn't have cell phones. We only had a house phone.
So
and when the cell phones first came out, they were big. They were like carrying a suitcase. They were so big.
It was a couple of phones that I saw when I was doing my research. One was it was saying some of them were by like the company AT&T. When was the...
I don't know nothing, because I don't use the new phones.
But when AT&T started coming out and stuff, do you think that's when
AT&T came out when Bell Telephone, because it was Bell Telephone when I was coming up, and then it became Verizon, but they split, so then it just became Verizon.
So, and after it became Verizon, more and more phone companies started to come up, and is that why now we have many different companies?
Many different companies.
Okay. So, I'll say maybe about 2 more questions. Okay, so this question is, what do you think, we were talking earlier about how the new phones, how I have an iPhone, and what do you think? Yeah, what do you think about the new iPhones that everyone's wanting, and why do you think they're so expensive?
Because they're too much money, and I wouldn't spend that kind of money on one of those iPhones 5, 6, or whatever. They're too expensive. Put that money towards something else.
Like food.
Like anything other than a phone.
And the last question of the day is, if you think that maybe in the past, back then when you were growing up, and there were like technology and like iPhones and stuff like what we have now, do you think maybe the world would be better, or do you think it would be worse with having stuff like that back then?
I don't know, Aaliyah. That's a good question. I don't know how to answer that. But I got along just fine without that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Gigi,
You're
for
welcome.
being a part of my interview.
I hope it helps.
Thank you very much.